Yes, my name is Mary, and this is my son James. And we have a story that we'd like to share with the public, and it also affects the public. In November of 2015, my son and I, James, went to Anita Alverize's office. We were told by Dorothy Brown personally that we would be able to sit and talk with Anita Alverize about our issue. We sat with Dorothy Brown at least 3 hours on two separate occasions. She wrote a letter in our behalf as her constituents and wrote this letter to Anita Alvarez explaining that she felt that it was something serious that she needed to look into. We had a scheduled appointment to meet with Anita Alvarez herself in November the 9th, 2015. When we got to that office, we were met by not Anita, but three people, a female and two men. And the information that we wanted to share with them, instead of them delving into what we were saying, it was more of an interrogation. And if we said one false word, we wouldn't have been walking out of that building. And that building happened to have been 26 in California. Now I'd like to take the story to the beginning. Back in 1998, 99, my grandbaby was born, which is James' first daughter, his first child. And he and his fiance couldn't wake the baby up. So they called 911. She expressed to them that, yeah, she understands that they're new parents and have a newborn, and she kind of giggled and told them that, look, it's just a sleeping babies. Babies sleep up to 17 hours a day, newborns. So they hung up, still tried to wake up the baby, called back again, and was instructed to try to feed the baby a bottle. That didn't work, so they took it upon themselves to jump in the vehicle that they owned, and they went off to Little Company of Mary Hospital. There, through the emergency room, they went to neurology. The neurologist did a battery of tests. And in the test, what they discovered is that the baby was just a sleeping baby. And the neurologist said if he can stretch his mind out to anything, maybe it was a slight seizure, but they really couldn't see anything. And he said that the baby can go home. The emergency room doctor said, no, I want this baby transferred to another hospital, which was Comer's. And when the smoke cleared, they said that this baby had subdural hematoma, which of course is bleeding in the brain, torn retina, broken ribs, 2 legs broke, 1 leg broke twice. But why didn't they see that at the first hospital? That's a good question. My son was ultimately arrested. He post bond and was out the next day. We had to come up with $10,000 cash, and he was out. He spent 5 years in court, back and forth, continuances. He was found not guilty. He went on with his life. This broke up their family. He still had a relationship with his daughter, but his fiance and he ended up breaking up. And I ultimately ended up adopting the child. With him going on with his life, he rekindled a relationship with his high school sweetheart. And soon thereafter, he gave birth, he and she, to their baby boy, his first son, his second child, and the mom's first child. In prenatal, the doctor said that she couldn't have this baby because it wouldn't be fair to the baby to be born, because the baby would be born with a litany of illnesses. True to form, just as the doctor called it, they didn't believe in abortion, so they wanted their baby, but their baby had a litany of illnesses. One of those being hydrocephalus, when the water is on the brain and the head gets bigger and bigger. The doctor annotated throughout the baby's life at this point the size and the circumference of the head, until one day he couldn't even put it on a piece of paper. He couldn't annotate it because the head had grew so big. And one fine day, this baby, screaming and hollering, had to get rushed to the hospital. Once he entered the hospital, James did with his son, he was met by a doctor. And this particular doctor was the one and the same doctor who had his first child transferred to another hospital with these false injuries. And the first thing she said was, "Mr. Tiller, I didn't get you back in 1999.
Well, I got you now."
Yes. Knowing full well that the first baby was a sleeping baby and the second baby had medical issues. The medical issue that this baby had in particular is IVH. IVH is intravascular hemorrhaging of the brain. And a lot of babies go through this, but the moms and dad are not aware. Basically, if you have a premature baby or a baby that's thriving because it's a twin, the vein on this child is so paper thin, and the brain is pressing upon this vein, and the vein ruptures. Thus, you have bleeding in the brain. And this doctor knew it, and she teaches this to other doctors. So, here once again, she's trying to have him arrested. But we as a family did our due diligence, and we got our baby's medical reports to show that this was a premature baby and that he had IVH, intravascular hemorrhaging of the brain, bleeding on the brain, which was medical, not due to any human being beating a child. And this is going on with a lot of innocent people. They just don't know what hit them. But we as a family did our due diligence, and we turned the script. We flipped it on this doctor, and we investigated her. And that's how we came up with IVH. I'd like to tell a quick story with this doctor. Back in 1999, there was a little baby, and I'm going to just use the name Mendoza. She died in daycare, and her mom sued the daycare facility and was awarded a multi-million-dollar settlement. In this, Mrs. Mendoza returned to the doctor, and guess who this doctor was? The same doctor that my son was involved with. And Mrs. Mendoza asked this doctor, "Will you please spearhead a foundation in my baby's honor so this will never happen to another child?" And instead of this particular doctor doing what she should have done, the foundation that she opened up was called MPEC, MPEEC, and it's supposed to be for neglected children, battered children, and putting together the family with education. But in fact, as you well know, when you see it on TV, they say that child abuse, shaken baby. Never once do they say, well, we first investigated to see that it was IVH. That's never even in the ruling. It's never even thought of. It's always that a child has been beaten. We took this to Anita Alverize because the story got even deeper. He was found innocent on all claims with his second child because we showed that it was medical. So this particular doctor goes back with the mom and says, "Look, put an order of protection against him if you want to keep your baby." And so, of course, the mom is going to abide by what this doctor is saying. And so they kept him from the hospital. He went in turn and got himself an attorney who says, "Hey, go and see if that baby is yours, and we're going to get visitations." Okay, the baby is his. We got visitations. The baby's out of the hospital. The doctor tells the girl, because this is the big fish that got away. She wants him. With everything in her soul, she wants to get this big fish that got away. So she tells the mom, "Look, take the baby off of his medication. And when he have a seizure, then we're going to say that we caused the seizure, James and I, and we'll be arrested. And it went just like so. We were called into court on an emergency hearing. The young lady is on the witness stand saying how I'm just a harmful person and I tried to kill the baby. I withheld his seizure medication. My attorney asked the young lady, how often do the baby take the medication? And she said twice a day. He said, well, at what time? The young lady said 10 o'clock in the morning and then 10 o'clock at night. So he asked her another question. What time do I pick the baby up and bring him back? And she says, well, she picks the baby up at 12 and bring him back at 4. The attorney said, hey, the jig is up. What's going on? The young lady sung like a bird. She had to now then confess that the doctor told her to take the baby off of his medication so that the baby would have a seizure on our watch, so that this would end all the visits. On the very first time that we even had a visit with the baby, on the very first visit, the baby came to us. This is yet another story. The baby came to us with marks and bruises. We have the pictures. We have video. Cuts on his face and on his private. Cuts on his legs. This was our very first visit with the baby, and I'm picking him up. As I walk into the home, the doorbell rings before I can even take off my coat. I've handed the baby to James. And it was the DCFS. And she says, I just want to see how the visit's going. I invited her in. And as he's taking the baby's coat off, you see all the marks on his face, on his chest. He continues to take off everything, and he says, oh no, what, and the DCFS worker, she says, oh no, you're in big trouble. You guys, what is this? What's going on? And my son James says,
oh man, we've been videotaped. I got you guys. I got cameras all around videotaping this visits, and her whole personality changed. Oh my God, that's good. You guys is videotaping. That's good. That's good. They trying to take the baby away from you guys.
Yes. We took this information to Anita Alverize to show that not only is this happening with us, but this is happening across the nation with a lot of people. And we have documentation. We have people that we talk with, and we want to bring light to what's going on. It's no different than a guy being shot 16 times in his back, with the poor man sitting in jail for a crime that he didn't commit. The doctor know that it was not a crime. And she's teaching this to other doctors, and it's working. The attorneys are involved in this. We had 14 separate attorneys, and we explained to them what was going on, and they couldn't understand. Wow, I can't believe it. And then when they talk with the other side, DCFS, the state, it seems as if maybe they've turned a deaf ear to what we're saying, and they now work against us. I owned a mansion, 7 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. They broke us to keep us quiet, keep us busy, without taking the story public, breaking us. And now I'm forced to live with my son, yet another son, not James. And we're destitute. From millions of dollars to just barely making it. And this is to keep us quiet and keep us silent and keep us busy. James have a total of 3 children. And this has happened again and again. And we want to bring justice to those that's going through this. And this story is not over. There's so much more that we want to tell. But we will be telling this in part 2. Thank you.